Hello and welcome to my video on how to use the flight planner in Flight Sim. To make your own flight plan, go to top left, flights, and then flight planner, and then you get a box up with five options in it. The first one you have to do them sequential. So number one, I'm going to fly as your departure airport. So today I'm flying from LFPG Lima Fox Papa Golf, which is Charles de Gaulle, and I'm going to depart off runway 27 left. So I can put that in the box at the bottom. Okay, number two is your arrival airport destination. So I'm going to Echo Golf Charlie Charlie. Okay, and my third one is IFR VFR. I usually put it on IFR. Direct GPS, and then find route, which on the map you'll see is just a straight route between the two airports, which is I'm going to add a few. You can add your own waypoints. The actual flight path is the red line that you'll see, and just zooming in and out the map. Simply, to add a waypoint, you click and drag the red line to where you wanted to go. So if you click and drag the red line, and I'm going to put it to RSO, which is a NDB, just off of the runway. Normally I make my first one in line with the runway, so that after you take off and you put it onto nav, the plane doesn't start making wild turns or anything. You can use NDBs, VORs, or these wee pink triangles, which are just GPS waypoints. If you don't understand these terms, you can look in some of my previous videos where I describe in more detail. The next one I'm going to add is almost on the route, which is Bixhill. So again, click and drag onto it, and then you get the option. And if you look on the right hand side, when you go OK, it adds it to your flight plan. I'm just going to go up, fly more or less over Heathrow Airport. I'm going to add a VOR this time, as one of my Daventry Delta Tango Yankee VOR. So again, you click and drag onto DTY, put it as a VOR, and that way you get the frequency if you want to tune it manually. Now, the final waypoint is the most important one, and if you click up to the airport, you'll see that this brings me into the airport. It's not going to give me a very good approach at all, because I'm going to come into the airport at a funny angle, and I'll not be able to land at that. So for the final waypoint, it's a good idea to try and line yourself up with the runway. And I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to put it onto one of these two little pink boxes, the left hand one. There's two almost together, and add that to my flight plan, and that's Denby. Okay, and as you'll see, the red line, it actually goes right down almost onto the runway, and if you followed that line, if you just kept the flight plan, and you'd probably be able to land on that, but it also makes it quite easy to pick up the ILS and so forth. So that's my flight plan, and the next thing I do is press navlog, and that gives us a more detailed list of all our waypoints, the distance they are from each other, what the total distance of the flight is, and the headings between them. As you can see, Denby to Echo to Manchester is 234, and I know that the actual runway heading is 236, so I mean it's only a couple of degrees out, so it's almost going to line me up with the runway. After you've done this, then your next option is, you've got a few things you can do. You can print it, and then you get a hard copy of what's on the screen, so you can enter the waypoints manually if you wish. At this point, don't press cancel or everything goes, press OK at the bottom if you don't want to print, and then you've got the option of saving that program to your hard drive. So if you press save, it'll bring you up your hard drive, press OK, and that's now on your hard disk. And then you just press OK, and then it'll ask you, do you want to move to the runway, and if you press yes, that's you ready for the flight. I've just taken off as normal from Charles de Gaulle, and I'm now climbing normally with the autopilot set to heading, indicated speed and altitude. If you put the GPS on, you see that the flight plan has been already entered into it. So that's the first part of my flight plan, was the airport to that NDB there, RSO, and if you press FPL, you'll see your flight plan, where you are on the flight plan, all the cumulative mileages, and how far you are from each waypoint that you've added. So I'm just at the first section of it. Press flight plan again and it shows you the picture. I'm still flying on the heading, so to get the flight plan, to get the GPS flying the plane, you simply make sure that the nav GPS switch is in the GPS position and press nav, and that's it. It will start to follow the flight plan. As you can see, the flight plan has changed now to RSO to Bixel, which is the next stage of my flight plan. And as you look out the right hand side there, you'll see the plane is turning itself to line up with the next waypoint, and it'll fly like this until the waypoint, either you've reached the last waypoint, or if you enter another waypoint or cancel or anything, the whole thing stops. So if you don't do anything, it should carry on and fly the rest of the flight plan. Now a little bit further down the flight plan, I'm just approaching Daventry VOR, which was one of the waypoints. If I press my flight plan, I can see I'm 108 miles from the airport and 92 miles from Denby, which was my turning point for to pick up the ILS. It shows you here that Denby is actually 16 miles out from the airport, so I would be aiming to arrive at Denby maybe at 10 miles you want to be 3,000 feet, and at 20 miles 6,000 feet, so 16 you want to be about 3,500 feet, and maybe at 180 knots ready for the turn. That's me just turning now at Daventry onto Denby. So I'm beginning my descent now to arrive at Denby at about 3,500 feet. I'm just descending now towards Denby, 62 miles to go in the descent. So I'm just going to put in the information I need to land the plane on the runway at Manchester. I've got this information off the map, and the course for the runway is 236, so put that into the course. You see the thing switch going round. (236), and then bring up the radio, the wee radio icon, and the ILS frequency is 109.5, so put that into nav 1, so 109.5, and then click it over, and that's me set up for my landing at Manchester. As you can see now, I'm just approaching the turn at Denby, and I'm making myself ready for landing. So my speed's back to 170 knots. I've got quite a lot of flaps on, and as you can see from the drone, I'm actually going to go slightly through the centre line. The ILS has become active again, as you can see from the glide slope. I'm a wee bit low in the glide slope, but once I turn, that will soon pick up again. And I'm going to actually go through the localizer and then turn, and then once the plane's on a steady setting, a steady heading, I'll change to approach, and then hopefully the ILS will pick it up, and we should be able to be in a good position just to make a landing. So again, I'm monitoring my glide slope, which is I'm a wee bit low, but that's okay. The runway's still off to the right because I haven't actually gone through the centre line yet, and I'm just preparing to make the turn now. As you watch that there, which is the localizer, you see as I go through the centre line that it comes down, so I'm actually on the centre line right now, just when it gets to that square in the middle, and I'm now beginning to make the turn, but by the time I've made the turn and go into my heading, the centre line's going to be off to the left. Plane's now steadied out onto its heading towards the runway. As you can see, the runway's just off there. Distance is 12 miles. So you simply change from GPS to nav, and then change it from nav to approach. And as you can see, my glide slope started to become active as I pick it up, the glide slope, and the plane, the localizer's off to the left, as we explained. We've gone through a certain line, so the plane's kicked right a wee bit just to pick up the localizer. And although I'm running out of time now, if we give it another couple of seconds, you'll see there it is. It's just picking up the localizer now, making in a straight line. And as you can see, we've we've done the complete flight on the GPS and the approach, and that's me just ready now to make a landing.